Some things were never meant to be dropped, like me from my grandmother's cell phone family plan. But when it comes to the low E string, drop that sucker down to a D all you want because there's some really cool stuff you can do with it. And we're gonna go over one kind of trick, one kind of thing you can do to incorporate a drop D tuning. So if you've never done that before, all it is the low E string on your guitar, tune it down to a D so it matches the D string. Same pitch, an octave lower, right? Now, a lot of times you'll see this used to kind of make these power chords a little heavier. But what we're gonna do is actually see how we can explore this tuning, this technically an alternate tuning, and add all the chords from D minor into it, all right? So D minor is the relative minor of the key of F. All that means is we use the notes in the key of F to make chords, all right? And there's only one flat in the key of F major or the key of D minor, same difference, and that's a B, all right? Now, the reason that's gonna be helpful is because we're gonna start using different chord voicings. We're gonna move up and down the neck to kind of create a cool cohesive thing where we're gonna incorporate a lot of drone notes. So essentially what we're gonna be doing is playing stuff that's gonna sound like this. So what we're gonna do is get this kind of like cool, open sounding, movable chord voicing drone pattern thing going on, and it's gonna start with a D minor chord. All right, now if you know your A string rooted bar chords, you'd know that the 5th fret on the A string is a D, and then if you use your ring finger to grab the 7th fret of the D string, your pinky to grab the 7th fret of the G string, your middle finger to grab the 6th fret of the B string, and then optionally you can kind of bar the 5th fret on the high E string. That'll give you a D minor if you're in standard tuning. Now, since this is drop D, we can actually double down on this D note and kind of drone this out. What a drone note is where you kind of have the same note gluing together a bunch of different chords. And essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this D and also this G note, the open G string and the open E string. So we're gonna have a D, a G, and an E for all of these different chords, okay? And we're gonna start it because we're not gonna even use any bar chords. We're gonna use that same kind of shape, we're not gonna bar anything. So our root note is gonna be the 5th fret on the A string. We're gonna turn that into a power chord. And then your middle finger is gonna grab the 6th fret on the B string. Now we're actually gonna play all 6 strings. Okay? So I'm thinking in my head, D minor. But I'm actually getting notes aside from just the D minor chord because those notes from the D minor scale are actually helping me to create something a little more interesting. And I'm droning this D, G, and E note into this chord. And we can do this with all 7 chords in the key of D minor, the key of F major. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go 2 frets lower and grab this C chord, all right? So C major would be the chord that goes in this key. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have that same power chord, 3A, 5D, open G string, and now your pinky is gonna grab the 5th fret on the B string. Okay, this is gonna be our major shape within this key. Everything we're gonna be doing today is gonna be rooted on the A string. So we've got the 5th fret on the A string, which is a D, and this is gonna be our minor shape. We're gonna back that up to the 3rd fret with our major shape, okay? Now, in any key, there's 3 spots for a minor chord and 3 spots for a major chord. And the other major chord spots are gonna be the 1st fret, B flat. So right there, that could be an interesting progression in and of itself. Just kind of playing around in the key of D minor, using these open strings to help me out. Now, the next thing we can do is go, let's find the root chord of the key of F, all right? So the 8th fret is an F, so if we put that major chord, where it's just 8A, 10D, and 10B, there's our F sounding, our F major-ish sounding chord. And I'm just kind of cycling through those different chord voicings. Another really cool one is if you take that F, the 7th note in that key, you don't even have to think of the notes. It's really cool if you can know those because I think it really helps lend you a hand in where you're going. But if you just want to memorize voicings, Another cool one right here, this would be the minor 7 flat 5 voicing. If that doesn't make any sense, don't even worry about it. All it is going to be 7A, 8D, and 8B, and then we're still going to drone everything else on top of it, okay? To the F major, the 10th fret would be a minor shape. That'd be like a G minor shape, and then if you want to go to 12 even, that would actually be kind of like an A minor shape. So if we have 7 chords, it would be the 1st fret, B flat major-ish, C, D minor, E diminished, F, G, A. And any way you kind of want to combine those, you're going to get something that sounds pretty cool. And all it is we're being aided by this tuning, this drop D, plus we have that open G and an open E in it. So really, it's more about just being thoughtful about what tuning you're in. If you want to experiment with different tunings, see how you can kind of stack and make shapes that will represent major and minor chords. Be kind of cognizant of which notes are in which key. So maybe like if you're trying around with some weird open tunings, you'd be like, okay, well this really fits well with, you know, the key of G, if maybe like something's tuned down to an F sharp. That's why it's really important to know the notes to go in keys, because it can really help you and aid you in creating interesting chord progressions. And drop D is no exception, even though usually it's kind of used as like a heavier chugging thing. You can still get really pretty open voiced chord things just by moving things along root notes on the A string. So that's all I've got for you today. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.